So people are going to wonder what a new home guy wants to do with a 150-year-old house, and we have this project to thank to our 16-year-old son Noah.
Yes.
So we've been in our current home about 2 years, and he's dying to move before he goes off to college. So he's looking at every property out there on the market, and he found one. He drugged me out to look at it.
Yeah, we both went. Yeah.
And we get there, and it wasn't quite right. And
but we indulged him because
yeah.
we wanted to encourage his passion for real estate. So
yeah, so we looked at it, wasn't quite right. We're talking to the realtor there, and he's like, well, if you're looking for something, historic and, with some land, I might have the perfect property for you. We're like, okay, sure, whatever. Sure. We'll go look at it. So we come over here to Edgewood in Glenview, and for me, within, the first 30 seconds coming up the picturesque driveway,
smitten.
I was smitten. And I knew immediately that this was the house for us. Gretchen, on the other hand, wasn't quite convinced, or just the thought of moving, I think.
Well, it wasn't anything on my radar. I mean, I was content, in my house. I love our house that we've built. It's perfect for us where we are in our life now. And my thought was we got Noah out to college, and then when it was just Max.
Yeah, we've got one kid. We're talking about downsizing,
and then we roll up here, and this is not my idea of downsizing. So
we call the realtor. We put an offer in on the property, and it was owned, ironically, by Bellarmine University, where Gretchen and I.
That's where we met. Fell in love.
Got married there, so we're like, man.
Our oldest graduated from there, so we already had felt that history.
Yeah, and actually, a friend of ours, Jay McGowan, who is the former president of Bellarmine, actually lived here for almost 20 years and called this place home.
Yes.
And from what I've learned, just loved this house. So we're like, okay,
this is cool. This is all right. There's a reason that
there's some signs.
Yeah.
So we put in an offer. We never thought we could afford it. It was, kind of out of our range, but we put in a little bit of a lower offer, and being a builder, it needed some work, so we said, we'll take care of all the work. So maybe they would work with us on the price.
Right.
So we went back and forth and negotiated with probably 4 or 5 different offers. And we were within, a small amount. We gave them our, we were waiting on their best and final. And
but we kind of thought it was a done deal at that point.
Verbally, we'd kind of almost accepted it. And, we get a call from the realtor. I'm thinking, all right, we've got it accepted. I'm in a meeting at Starbucks. Gretchen's at home meeting a client, and I get a call from the realtor, and he said they sold the house. And I'm like,
what? Dagger to the heart.
Yeah, at first it took me a second. I'm like, great, we got it. He's like, no. He said, you're not getting an opportunity. They sold it to somebody else that came in and outbid you. And we're like, we didn't know anybody else was looking at it. So. Anyway,
he was devastated.
I came home.
I thought someone had passed away. I mean, he's not one to cry much, but he came in and he was just physically.
Yeah. So it took me, a week or two to finally get over it before I even.
We had to delete all the pictures off our phones that we had taken. I had already created a Pinterest board of what we were going to do.
I was coming over every day and just walking the grounds, and finally Noah had got me convinced to start looking at other houses, and I looked at one. I was like, I just can't do it. I said, I'm done. We're going to stay put, and just no interest in looking at anything else. So I think spring break happened. Finally, I'm done with it. We're
on vacation with some friends. And
one of our favorite places down on 30A for, a little getaway. And ironically, I think it was Monday of spring break, there was new construction, so anytime we travel, we're always looking at new construction. House on the beach, walking some friends through it. My phone rings. It was John, our realtor.
Yeah.
And he says, you want to make a deal today? And I'm thinking, am I buying a beach house today or what?
Like, yes.
He's like, the Bellarmine house fell through. And I'm like, are you serious? And Gretchen wasn't with me. I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, yeah. So I told him at that point, I said, put an offer in. It was a little more than we originally had thought. And I went back and told Gretchen, And
Yeah, he put the offer in before he even told me, by the way. And by the way, we're on the beach with our friends, and one of our good friends is already there, and they're going through the same thing. They had their house up for sale, and they were going back and forth. They had gotten multiple offers. So I didn't want to just come in and say, oh, by the way, and we're thinking about buying a house too, because we just didn't know how all this was going to play out. We'd already been burned once, so it was kind of like mum's the word. So we're just silently texting each other back and forth about this
and I'm
property.
like, are you in? Do you want to put an offer in?
Yeah,
and
he didn't tell me after the fact that he'd already done it, and I'm like,
so we put it in. They accepted it right away, and by Monday, we still had a whole week, and my whole spring break, I'm thinking about Edgewood. What can we do? What are we gonna do? So started sketching up floor plans and renovation plans and all that, and so we came back and finally got to walk back through it.
Right.
Had an accepted contract, and
we started meeting some of the contractors over here to see what we could do and what it was going to cost to fix some of the things we wanted to fix.
Brought all my vendors in, and like, am I crazy? Are we crazy about a house? Still has the original windows, single pane, wavy glass, but I think truly it was meant to be. So we got the house, and we're ready to start doing a little demo and reno, and put our touches on it and make it home. I think Gretchen's got a good little saying that she wants to, kind of put our mark as we build a better South and nurture it, sustain it, and be a part of it.
And be part of its history.
So we're excited to be part of the history of Edgewood.